So the project is called GrowthOD, and growth is an acronym for gratitude, rooted organizational wisdom, transformation, and healing, which is a mouthful. So gratitude is rooted in gratitude. Organizational wisdom, you'll find that runs through the book, particularly in the Glow chapter. Then there's transformation, which is what we do in OD, stands for organizational development. And we want to do some healing because we got a lot of coaches here and they have healing modalities of different kinds. So that's the title. So we're not going to call it purview anymore. We're not going to call it socioeconomic OD anymore. I like the growth OD. If people have a better acronym or something, let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to lock up the domain names and it'll all be housed at GrowthOD. GrowthOD goes beneath. I'll show you a picture of a glowing tree with the green branches and leaves up above the trunk of the tree and the roots. And the whole thing about that icon is that you got to get to the roots of the problem. You got to get to the roots of the situation to do really good OD. And by the way, I hope this GrowthOD does become the training manual for people getting trained at all levels of education and in organizational development, because I think it's the new thing, because it combines 5 pillars that I'm going to explain to you. So I'm going to show you the study guide I sent around in your email, and Dr. Sue, later I'll show you how to find that for yourself. And we'll go from there. So let's see where it is. Okay, so here you can see the iconic tree with, usually you see a tree above ground, but I'm showing all the roots that you don't see that are underground. And that's particularly important to the work we do, because I think we want to do something to get beneath the surface of the problems that are facing organizations, societies, organizations of business, government, hospitals, nonprofits, etc. So there's GrowthOD has kind of 5 features to it. It's a gratitude-centered culture, so we want to grow the gratitude. We're not interested in growing shareholder value. That's a very limited framework for doing organizational development. So it's not shareholder driven, it's stakeholder driven. Secondly, it's wisdom over efficiency. So a lot of organizational development is degenerated in just efficiency programs, and we want to get out of that sort of pit and get it not shareholder, but sort of optimized for a lot of stakeholders. And that's the way it used to be in the 1970s and 60s. And we kind of want to regain that ground. Then we do restoring, and Grace Ann and I are really big on restoring, been doing it over 30 years with veterans, with organizations, with institutions of all kinds. So there's a lot of work we've done on that. And we're going to do that in a very mindful way called mindfulness. You'll see in the new versions of things in the book. Finally, again, stakeholder energy optimization. Now, energy is a construct. Can't really measure our energy. I guess you can have a survey or something and some substitute measure, but we want it. It's not about optimizing just financial return, although we are interested in that. We want to unleash human potential all through an organization, and that's a very big part of this socioeconomic approach to management, Henry Saval's group, which is one of the pillars. And there's transformation as a relational process. So we're not interested in a lot of big consulting firms I won't mention, but it's basically spreadsheet approach to organizational development. They review all the spreadsheets and they identify where they can cut costs, and then they send people out to do the OD work. But we're not about that. We want a transformation as a relational process, And that is captured in the work of Grace Ann Roselle on ensemble leadership. And really, GrowthOD is ensemble leadership. It is everybody's a leader in our group. Okay, it's David Boje and colleagues, you know, and it's everybody can release the book, everybody can adapt it to their own needs, take chapters, do whatever they want with it, splice it up, use it to improve it, because we're about relationships and we're about the process of sort of making everybody successful in the crew, and this crew making everybody else successful. So let's look at the 5 pillars of GrowthOD. Gratitude-rooted organizational wisdom, transformation, and healing. First of all, there's purview, which is what I started with a year ago, is kind of a way to talk about the restoring process Grace Ann and I have done. In the new version of the book, you'll find that it's tied to the mindfulness work of Martin Heidegger. So I think that's a big step. I've tried to do it in a way that's readable. But the mindfulness movement is big, it's growing, it's still big, and I've tied purview to that. Then there's the socioeconomic approach to management out of France, one of the best consulting firms in the whole world, I believe. Grace Ann and I worked with them 20 years, going to France for 20 years, every year, and we just went to the 50th anniversary, and Henri Saval says, I want to see you do this, David, this work in the United States, spreading socioeconomic approach to what I'm calling organizational development. Then there's axiogenics, and we've had Peter Demarest, we've had Harvey Schufan giving us orientations on that in the last few weeks. They are definitely a pillar of this approach. And one of the amazing things about it is that it has a way of measuring net value, adding the best net value you can in each moment. And that measure is something we can all use and recommend to our clients. So we have a measure we can, before our intervention, whatever you're doing out there, and after the intervention. So we got a before and after measure. Then there's GLOW, and that's the work of Olivia and Tom. And I was able to distill some of their mini books into a chapter, and that's brand new. You've never seen it before. And it's got the gratitude culture in there. I combined gratitude culture and GLOW. So I believe there's a gratitude culture movement that's springing up, and I want to be part of it. Gratitude, love, organizational wisdom is the definition of GLOW, that acronym. And there is more to come in the GLOW chapter that I'm working on to tie it more specifically to the triple loop methodology and a little bit more on the statistical aspects that's in Olivia's business intelligence work. So we're going to talk about that a little bit today, let you explore this. Now, the 5th one is the work of Sabine's husband, David Trofimo. Now, he's got an actual revolution. I call it the Copernican revolution. I've written about it in other books. And I just got done. David gave me the feedback on his chapter. I revised it. I got it. That version is in the book now. And I'm hoping he likes the final version. But I'm going to have him on as a guest in a week to 2 weeks to really cover what I'm calling AAM, Auxiliary Assumptions Method. So I'll just invite you today. We're going to do some breakouts and have you pick a room. There'll be, and I want you to just pick a room now. Don't go to the room with the most people. go to, I'd like to divide you up pretty equally. If I have, well, maybe I'll just split you into 5 groups. What do you care what group you're going into? You got to learn all 5 of the pillars anyway. So I think I'm going to do it that way. So I give you a little overview. But I'd like you just to work from this study guide that I sent to everybody in the invite today. It's towards the bottom. And it's purview, again, we're going to go with mindfulness. So it's the usual 7 steps. Socioeconomic approach, basically identifying hidden cost, co-analyzing with the stakeholders. So it's definitely a stakeholder capitalism approach. They have a clover leaf of initial diagnostic of working conditions, work organizations, time management, communication, etc., strategic implementation, those sorts of things. Very basic. But the way they do it with the logbook method is to actually have the coaches and consultants log observations, interviews, storytelling circles, whatever your particular method is. So there's a period of diagnosis before any intervention. So I think that's what's unique. Axiogenics, you know, from the talks we've had in this meeting, builds on value, what they call a value science of axiogenics. You look at value alignment across the organization or unalignment. You look at value choices. You look at moment by moment awareness of the value decisions. And that's a bit of a summary. Now, GLOW, gratitude, love, organization, wisdom. That pillar is, I think, very foundational because I've been working with Olivia and Tom over the last year in particular to move gratitude in there. Olivia's got a book on love at work, excellent book. Organizational wisdom, they have a wisdom institute. They have a survey which is scorable, and you can use it again in a before after your intervention. And what that does is allow you to have a measurement of where people are at on particular dimensions. So we'll learn more about that to come because that chapter is brand new. Then we have David Trofimo with the auxiliary assumptions methodology, AAM for short. There's 4 kinds of assumptions, and we can apply this to all the other pillars and anything we do. And that's one of the learning goals we're going to have. There's theory assumptions. There's a lot of different theories of organizational development and coaching. So when you work with a client, you have a theory. You may not know it's a theory, but you have a theory of what you think are the important elements to pull together in an intervention. Then you have assumptions linking the ideas to what you can actually measure. So they're measurable things. And then those of you using statistics, whether they're quantification frequencies or surveys or financial, any kind of statistics, there's another set of assumptions about the statistics you use. And just to be funny, most mathematicians are rolling over in their grave when they look at how statistics is applied, not just in organizational development, but in management, marketing, just about every other social science. Violations such as no sampling, no random sampling, no sampling in times and spaces. That's one of the big ones. Or assuming that because you have a p-value, you can then say you're confident about what you've done is correct, which is absolutely wrong because you haven't explained how the mathematics translates it across your intervention. So it's a big deal, number 3. And then there's inferential assumptions about drawing conclusions from your table statistics, your case studies, whatever you have, qualitative, quantitative, financial results, survey results, etc. You're making an inference that that's what's going on. So you're making a leap. And everybody does these 4 assumptions, but what I love about David Trofimo's work is that he connects them up in ways that we can actually use. The final thing in the 9th chapter, the wrap-up chapter of the book, is our work in true storytelling. Gracie and I are co-founders of the True Storytelling Institute. We've had a book out, I think, since 2020, something like that. And it's doing really good with a lot of consultants using it, particularly in Europe, but also a group in LA, Oscar Edwards et al. Are using it there. And Ken Long is certified in it. So the true storytelling principles are truth, making room for the stories already there, coming up with a plot that people can agree on, the timing of what you do, helping stories along in transformation, staging, which means communicating to your clients and audience through artifacts and scenes or scenography, and then doing the reflective aspect of how they add value. So one of the things is a wrap-up chapter of the book. It connects all of the 5 pillars to the true storytelling for those of you who have that grounding, and just as a way to end the book. So that's my presentation, and what I'd like to do is handle any questions now, and then get into breakout groups or have a big discussion, however you want to process this. It's you're in charge. I'm going to step back and just be one of the crew. So anybody want to ask a question?
Yeah.
Let me move to Jack. Jack, what's your question?
Yeah, I understand, David, you're going to assign us to different rooms. I just want to put in my preference. The areas where I need the most input is either Harvey and Peter with axiogenics or Trofimo in AAM. Those would be my 2 preferences for rooms. That's all I have.
Well, I'm going to pass in the axiogenics room. One of us will be there. Grace Ann and I are taking the class, and so is Tom, and so is Olivia. So we're steeped in axiogenics in ways you can't believe. We're doing like weekly homework. I mean, that guy piles on the homework. Oh my gosh. And I love it. So we'll make that happen. For Trofimo, we'll wait till next week to get the real explanations for Trofimo. Hopefully that'll happen. Dr. Olga, good to see your name.
Yeah, thank you. So I'm just trying to clarify, since I don't know if I'm one of the newer folks, but I feel like I'm one of the newer folks.
You are one of the newer folks. And as soon as you get me a 1 to 3 minute video, I will celebrate you.
Yes, I know I have that homework to still do. So I just want to clarify my understanding of the group and the purpose. So it seems to me that, I don't know when this started, but in a period of time, you've collected all these different folks with different philosophies and backgrounds, and you're pulling in the methodology or the frameworks or the models, at least 5 of them, that you are using in your book or in your overall approach in working with organizations. And is it my understanding that as you publish the book or as you continue to move forward, that you're looking to identify or engage in different actual consulting work where different people throughout the group will say, yeah, I want to be a part of that, or is that what we're doing?
Absolutely, and you expressed it better than I did, so I appreciate you. Think of it like going to a cafeteria,
Okay.
and you're going to choose some of the appetizer, one main course, maybe a dessert, something to drink. So think of that as the 5 pillars, you choose something from each. Now, some consulting projects, coaching projects will be very specific, and it'll be on 1 pillar, or some on 2 or 3 or 4 or all 5. I think it'll be rare that we can do all 5, but you're going to have the background of all the 5. And I think they do apply, even if we just did one of them, such as socioeconomic approach, for example. We still have to do the assumptions, still apply. You still have to do coaching to get down to the roots. So the purview could apply. You have to do glow because you're creating a positive culture. So the 1 might be in the front and 4 might be right behind them. You know what I mean? Not even mentioned, but there in your training. But it's up to you to decide which pillars to use. I just want an OD book, the GrowthOD book, to be cutting edge, combining best practices for the best work we could possibly do in OD. If we have a client that wants to be cutting edge, if they want a client that just wants a little training, you know, in their assumptions, then they could just do pillar 5, you know, pillar 4, you know what I mean? So I think you've expressed it really well. So I'm going to ask Olivia, what's your question?
I just wanted to say, you mentioned this assessment that I've created.
Oh yeah, you want to take a few minutes?
Well, yeah, and I could also, not to take up time, I could just share a link. I wanted to say though that you said we use it before and after. It doesn't have any verification, you know, it's like completely new. So I hesitate to say that it's been tested and has robust statistical value.
I hear you, but we can do that together. But the more we apply it, the more each of us take the instrument, gives you feedback, the more it develops. And as soon as we get our first client with 1,000 people or 500 people, then you got a data set of 500 or 1,000, and you got what you want. But we got to start.
So I spent quite a bit of time over the weekend trying to figure out the right tool, and the one that I spent time in and trying to reach them, turns out they can't do the calculations. So I may be moving it, but I have it set up on a type form. If anybody wants to go look at it, I don't know how long it'll be there, but I can share the link and let you look at it. So.
Put it in the chat and share it with everybody afterwards. You got the list of people, so we can do that.
Okay. Maybe I'll just email it to everyone. So
yeah, email it to us and let's take it and then give you feedback and then build that database, you know. So
thank you.
Pretty soon it'll be an icon in the field, a go-to place, because I've seen the questions. I love them. I've seen how you got the diagnostic happening. It's a little bit like the axiogenics in its possibility. It's not there yet, but axiogenics, you actually get back a 2-page thing on your main dimension and sections.
That's in the works. Once I get the tool that can analyze it, then I really want to have fun with all that, because there's a whole bunch of cool little dimensions.
Oh, absolutely. So then we'll look at that. So, Dr. Shri, I appreciate you. I remember your session to us several weeks ago was riveting, and I know you have some background in the healing methodology, and you're also gifted in statistics. So, what's your question?
The whole PhD on applied statistics. Yes.
There you go.
That's what I'm curious about. You mentioned that you and you all were doing a course that Sabine's husband is teaching.
Yes.
And I'm curious as to whether is that available to other people to learn.
Yeah, bring them here. We'll announce it, but we're hoping for next Monday. And David will be on for an hour and a half. And believe me, he's riveting. He's a top-rated professor at New Mexico State University. And he's also being invited to do keynotes at statistics conferences in the UK, Vietnam, Canada, I don't know, just a lot of different places, and they're all giving him ovations for what he's doing. So, but he's hardcore. You know what I mean? He really believes in what he's doing, and he's making a difference. And a lot of my doctoral students took his course in AAM, Auxiliary Assumptions Method, and used it in their dissertations. I mean, it's powerful stuff. It really is.
Can I just say, I think, Shri, your confusion is that Tom and David and I and various Ann are in a course for valuegenics, which is different than the statistical piece. It's axiogenics, valuegenics is different. It's not David Trofimo's work. So you're not missing out on anything around statistics is what I'm trying to let you know.
Thanks for sorting it out. Anyway, so auxiliary assumptions is David Trofimo. He's the solution in process, and we're lucky to have that real scientist to come and talk to us.
And Olivia, thank you. And David, thank you. And as I said, I will talk to David, and I don't, at the moment, don't see a reason why he can't do next Monday, but I'll let you know.
I appreciate that. What would you like to do now that would be most helpful to you? Like, here's some options. We could just break out rooms and you could go to different rooms and talk to each other about what you're doing. We could pick one of the methodologies like GLOW and just explore it because it's brand new. We could pick 2 or 3, divide up our time, and what would be most beneficial to you?
Maybe people could put in the chat what they'd like.
Or Paul, you were waving your hand. Go ahead.
I'm simply voting for breakout rooms. That's
Okay.
mine.
The breakout room. Is that what people like to do? Just talk amongst yourselves, and then maybe we can distribute us across the room so that there's places for everybody to go. And I'll try to hop to the room with the least people in it. That'll be my job. And is that fun? Does that sound like fun? See what people are chatting.
Yes.
So David, maybe 20 minutes and
Break out. Okay, 20 minutes.
and break out, and then come back and see where we are.
Yes, ma'am.
Or debrief after that.
So, okay, yeah, welcome. Originally, I was calling everything purview. I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm going to call it purview is just one pillar, not everything. But I had to start somewhere. And what I need from Vanessa is, and anybody else that has a methodology, Dr. Shree, is I'd like to have questions that would take and do some things like quantum time travel in this chapter. And there's that one where you have people in each hand and you're trying to bring them together, Vanessa. What do you call that?
Parts integration?
Parts integration, yeah. Now, those 2 methodologies originated, at least by my research, in Australia, with the Australian group of NLP people. And then Genius Unlocked repackaged them with their methodology, so you can find them in Genius Unlocked. But since the workbooks in Australia are online, I don't think we have any copyright problems in putting that method. There's also the root cause method. So all 3 of those originated with Tad Jones. His first name,
Ted James.
Tad James, sorry. Yeah, I think I misspelled his name everywhere. It's Tad James. Anyway, Tad James and his crew, the Genius Unlocked people, were trained by Tad James and were part of their consulting crew. Then they broke off. Since I'm not being recorded, I can tell you the secret history. And then they broke off and created Genius Unlocked. And then Genius Unlocked has their own manuals. So what I propose is, since Vanessa, you are super gifted at this methodology, it'd be really great if you could, just do a sheet like these are the questions to do quantum timeline. And I think can I say it's a little confusing in Genius Unlocked because they say, go to position 2. I'm going like, what's position 2? Can't you just tell me I'm going into the past? And then go to position 4, I'm going to the future. You know what I mean? It's a little confusing.
I mean, that's how it was taught to me, and I modified it because.
Did you? Thank you. So, do you want to explain it a little bit for Dr. Drew and Dr. Shree and even Tom? I don't know if Tom knows. So.
Yeah, it's basically a technique of accessing different parts of your subconscious mind, and the way that I particularly use it, right? I mean, it can be used in any ways to get to any point, but I use it like whatever a client is bringing up, finding the root cause of that, finding the original. So say it was like they're experiencing trauma or a limiting belief that keeps coming up or a pattern in their life that they want to change. So through a series of questioning, getting them to find out when the original moment was. simply by like, you can just trusting the unconscious mind, asking them like, hey, what was the very first time you felt this way? If you were to know, is it before, during, or after your birth? And so allowing the subconscious mind to then just like, and some people, when they're not used to it, it's like training them to just trust the first thing that comes up, right? So they'll be like, oh, I'm hearing past life. Okay, if you were to know how many, 7. Okay, and then it's
That was
just
me. I did 7.
7's your number. And so then just guiding them, and it's not like, oh, you're getting sleepy hypnosis, but it is like kind of just like a gentle trance that they get into by this series of questioning, that then they're able to access the unconscious mind easily. And so then asking them to go back to that point, go back to that moment where they 7 lifetimes ago, seeing what they see, being like in the moment, seeing it from their own eyes, feeling it, hearing it, feeling it, all that, and then guiding them out of their body so that then they're witnessing it from above. And then from there, they're able to kind of have a broader perspective, get all lessons and learnings from the event so that they can basically kind of like with purview, rewrite their story. So now they're seeing it differently. Instead of being trapped in victim mode, now they're more empowered. They're seeing the whole perspective. They're able to get all these lessons and learnings. And then I just keep doing that until it feels clear. And then, or nothing comes up from them. Either it'll be something that I get intuitively hit, or they'll be like, I'm not getting anything else. And then we test it by going back into the body in that event, so that they can see, feel, and hear everything that they did originally when we first found the event. And if it worked, I'll ask them, have you, is that old feeling, is it still there? Is it gone now? And if it worked, most of the time they're like, what feeling? And you're like, okay, it worked, and it's great. And then bringing them back and seeing how, now that is cleared, now that they have this new perspective, and then while I'm doing that, doing the light hypnosis to reprogram their subconscious mind with all the lessons and learnings that they brought through, and then they're able to kind of see, okay, in the future, if that was to happen again, like, how is it different, right?
Yeah, this is really powerful. Whole thing takes maybe 10 minutes. 5 minutes can happen in 5 minutes. And I resisted it when I first heard about it, because I wanted to work on the most recent event. I had this problem with one of my consulting partners in another organization. I wanted to deal with that problem. But Vanessa took me back to a past life and then popped that bubble, and all the other bubbles of conflicts popped up to the present, including that guy I was having a problem with, because I went back and looked at it. Is that still there? And it wasn't. I'm going like, wait, I want that one. I want to work on that one. But there's a magic here that I don't understand. It's like Eastern philosophy or something. If you break the earliest bubble, all the other will pop along the present. Why? Why?
In EFT, we talk about the table and the table legs, right? So what you're doing is, it's the legs that are these memories that are holding up this current, whatever issue you had with this person in today. And when you go back, what we do in EFT is very similar. So bring it up. Where are you feeling it? When do you first remember feeling it? And the first event that comes up is what is ready to be healed, is the way I do it. And then you work on that. And it's often like, there was somebody who remembered being in the incubator and feeling breathless and scared and all of that. So it basic theory is that if you take away the legs, the table collapses. There's nothing to hold the table
I love
up.
that metaphor. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
If you don't mind, we could quote you on that, or you could give us a paragraph or something.
Not me. Yeah, I'll give you the source. Yeah. And
Now, the thing with the purview steps, because Tom was explaining them out, if you get them where they're at and externalizing it, so the problem's the problem, not the person, you take them up to restore size, and you're going to have that new story. But the process, the steps will break down, and when they break down, I got to go to Vanessa's thing and say, Vanessa, they're not popping the earliest bubble. I need the earliest bubble popped, so the whole string will pop, because I don't want to spend 50 hours going through 50 episodes of my 77-year-old life. I want to hit one and pop the rest of them. Now, it doesn't mean that they're all completely cleansed or restored would be the actual word, because maybe I have to peel away layer of that more recent one. Maybe I have to do that with a root cause thing of just, well, what's the root cause of that? And then that would get me back to same things as in Tad James. Got that right this time. You know, my messed up ego is in the way. I'm stepping on my ego. Or I have an inner child acting out, right? Or I have an inner critic voice from early parents or teachers or somebody yelling in my ear, yelling in my brain, so I can't transition. You know what I'm saying? So there's ways to take those legs out. And then the habit of the restoring is we were talking about habits take a long time to shift. If you got a habit of telling your life story in a certain way, that's not going to shift in 20 minutes. You know, it's going to take a support group. It's going to take some homework. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. What's your questions, Dr. Sue? Come on. What's your questions?
No, I mean, I'm just, I'm just listening along here, and yeah, it's fascinating work and you were, you went through what Vanessa does.
Oh yeah, full times.
People, so yeah, and that was fascinating. That quickly you were able to resolve an issue with a colleague you were having.
Oh yeah. In fact, that 7th chapter wouldn't be in the book if Vanessa hadn't resolved it, And still, I only put it on the end of the book. I didn't make it a pillar yet. I don't know if I will. I kind of like it where it is. I'm trusting it, but not that much. You know what I'm saying, Dr. Sue?
I wanted to say that the metaphor that I always use for the process is like if you remember that magic trick where the tape, you have a table setting with all the plates and glasses and everything, and then somebody comes and pulls the tablecloth out without disturbing the place setting. And so like in this case, the place setting is just your life, and then the tablecloth is the trauma or the limiting belief, right? So it's like when the when the tablecloth is there, it's touching everything in your life, right? It's affecting everything. But then when you pull it out, all of a sudden, just in one fell swoop, it's gone, and now it's no longer affecting everything. And so you get to have a different experience of life because the plate's not touching the tablecloth, right? So it's similar to the table. I love it. It's both on the table. Like we can chop the legs off while we take the tablecloth out.
Pull a leg on my stool and I'm laying on the ground. What happened? People love their stools, even if they don't. That good for them. Let me ask another question to Vanessa. Like Vanessa and Lucero trained me to be a Reiki master in the Holy Fire methodology, which I'm very grateful for. Now I can't teach the symbols to people, but I can use the symbols in my coaching. Like I'm down here making the symbol now, Vanessa, And I got several symbols. And I see Lucero does with her hands a certain kind of magic from her own practice. How can we make that part of purview, or how do we help coaches who want to do purview and they've learned, let's say they learned quantum time travel and they've learned parts integration, the root cause approach. Does the Holy Fire work in here, or doesn't not?
I mean, it always works everywhere, in my opinion. And I think that, for anyone who it hasn't been trained, but you want to integrate it into a part of it, I think it comes down to intention. Because I think that that's the root of, in my experience, in my perspective, Reiki is basically the art of alignment with the self and in your own spirit, and also intention, right? So Reiki gives you tools to be more of yourself, and sorry, my mind went blank. Yeah, so like the power of intention. So just getting people to be more conscious and more intentional about their life and their whatever they're doing. So, and you can use it in the frame of Reiki and share it in the way of, oh, with the power of Reiki and allowing people to tune into, because I feel like everybody is, from my perspective, Reiki is just the word breaking down as spirit energy, right? Like ki is like chi or prana and all that, right? So it's just the Japanese word for energy. And so by everybody is inherently has Reiki going through them. Your computer is everything. It's consciousness, right? So allowing people to know that, and also like trees give Reiki. Like if you want to have an experience of Reiki, go hug a tree, right? And so there are certain things that you can kind of share about Reiki that everybody can kind of tap into if they want to, with their own alignment and intention, before they ever even, consider taking a certification for it.
Beautiful answer. I'm going to appoint you the spokesperson, Vanessa, for this room, okay?
Okay.
We're going to be whisked back into the main room in, I don't know, 20 seconds or something. So, but I appreciate you all. If you have any more questions, raise them now, or I hope you enjoyed this breakout session.
Oh, I was going to say, I found the book. Joyce sent
good.
it to me, and I've got the 2 versions of the book. You mentioned something about a workbook. So,
Yeah, the 2 versions are gone. We just have the 1 version. But I'll do, Dr. Sue, I will send you an email and get you all set up, okay?
Okay.
Put your email in the chat just to make sure I got it. You got an invite, so you must be there.
Yeah, I'm on the main list. I just didn't,
Cursor over to the microphone. Okay, so welcome back. Now, thanks for being in the breakout rooms. What I'd like is one person from each room to talk for 1 to 2 minutes about what it is, what's its potential, any questions that people are having, and I'll start with Vanessa, and then we'll go to the next room and the next room. I think there's 4 rooms that we did. Go ahead, Vanessa.
Yeah, we talked about quantum time technique, Reiki, and other, modalities of healing, and using them to remove blocks and become more intentional and more in alignment with yourself, so that you can show up in your life without any restrictions and feeling fully in clarity and heart-centered and gratitude.
And that was in the purview room. That was the first pillar. Purview is how to integrate some Reiki, quantum time travel, parts integration, a few other methodologies that a number of us are trained in, thanks to Vanessa. And she's very gifted in that. And she's agreed to write some of those protocols into that pillar, into that chapter. And I appreciate you for that. So the next room, Grace Ann, you were in that room, I think. Do you have a spokesperson for that room? Do you want to unmute yourself, Grace Ann? And
Alicia, could you summarize?
Alicia, go ahead, Alicia.
Sure, I will. We talked about axiogenics, and Grace Ann shared with us, as she's going through the course right now, shared with us her experience working with self-assessment to help identify what her values are, and in which situations certain values that she has could drive her decisions around what she does or what type of environments that she chooses to be in. We started getting into talking about, Sabine, the whole application of axiogenics in a team or an organizational context, and what that might look like, and if that's what the axiogenics piece is actually addressing right now. And then we got cut off.
We'll have more opportunities, Alicia. That's a very good summary. Let's go to the room that Amen, Carol, Jack, Joy, and Lucero were in. Could somebody volunteer to tell us what that room was about? I think it was socioeconomics. Does somebody want to say, yeah, I'll talk for a little bit? I'm
I
not
can go for a minute, if David, if you want.
Okay, Jack.
Joy started out by introducing us. Some of us weren't as knowledgeable as others because the material has just recently come out. But Joy gave us the definition of the socioeconomic approach to management, to talking about transforming the hidden costs to value-added revenue streams. And we went on and talked about releasing the human potential. I mentioned that, we as an embodiment of our group, GrowthOD, are now creating that which we want to take out and teach and coach with other organizations, so that we're creating our own image of that which we are becoming to take it out there. And everybody added something to their piece of what it's all about in SEAM. Thanks.
Beautiful summary. Beautiful summary. Now, the last room, we had a bunch of people there and the recorders. I'll ask Olivia, is there somebody in that room who can talk about flow?
Well, thank you. It was Dr. Olga, myself, and Jim. And Dr. Olga had an appointment at the top of the hour, so she had to leave. But she really was new and wanted to understand how long this group how long ago it was formed and what she had missed. And so I went through a lot of that, and Jim was really helpful because I wasn't even sure when it started. So we estimated 5-6 months ago. And then I went through the origins of Glow and how basically I was this heart-centered Earth mom that ended up getting a master's in statistics because I knew I could make money perhaps with it, and then ended up being traumatized by corporate culture and wanting to make a difference in there. And so I did a lot of research and wrote a few books. And that was really the underpinnings. And then Tom's work with the surviving a near-death experience. So I brought in the love piece, and Tom contributes to gratitude. We pulled it together to create Glow. And then we just talked more about how we work together, kind of like, I love what you said, Jack, about how we're modeling what we're going to be promoting. It's just beautiful. So I mentioned how we, Jim isn't an OD, doesn't have an OD background, but we're also here to help each other. And that I mentioned how I have a lot of experience with the marketing piece. So I'm hoping to bring that. And I'm sure there's others here, Joy and others, that we've worked in the business world and know how to kind of, promote online and create lead magnets and easily bring in prospects. So that was kind of our group.
Oh, wonderful. Just a footnote, Jim Rogers, our excellent photographer, and we also have George Mendoza, a painter and all kinds of skills, a writer as well. And those two people I've been working with for some time. And for me, they're the people all of us can help. All of us can practice their coaching, consulting, seeing the rest of it to make their businesses, their small businesses become big business for what they want. I know George Mendoza has got big dreams of a big movie about his life, and we're working on that. He's agreed to go to Dallas and do some public speaking because we had a consultant in Anita. Remember, she's a coach. She gave some coaching, and I followed up. And Jim Rogers, his website has started. He's starting to sell things again, and he was at a party at my house, and I just noticed how happy he was this weekend, We had a little 4th of July party, so for Grace Ann's birthday. And anyway, happy birthday, Grace Ann. So this is ensemble leadership. Grace Ann, could you explain ensemble leadership, why we're all leaders, and a little bit about that? Because that's the underpinning for what I call through in the book, the triple loop, single loop, command and control, double loop. That building innovation that Amin talked about, building a culture of entrepreneurship and open systems, and then the third loop, which goes beyond Argyris and Schoen, what they tried to do in the 70s, which was phenomenal in organizational learning. But the third loop, I think, is captured pretty well in both ensemble leadership, how you take these different centers in an organization and have the leaders working together, leading different things, and everybody a leader from the bottom up and top down, side to side. But in the business intelligence book, just a shout out on Olivia's book, her last few chapters about how to integrate across different sectors of an organization. She calls it holography. She's got a bunch of different looping models in there that I find very, very exciting. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to be able to work with that to flesh out a little bit more on the third loop. But the single, double, triple loop is a move to not drive people out that are command and control, but give them something to do that's useful, and then allow the open system people to do that bit, and then the triple loop, which is a lot more very advanced systems work, I would say. Grace, can you say anything about ensemble leadership to bail me out here of my, my being lost?
We, in studying Native American tribes, we saw that leadership was much more participative. And in going back historically, we found that ethnographers described a style of leadership from centuries ago, practiced in Mesoamerica, around this region, where it was much more egalitarian. But what they called it was, they had a term called, instead of hierarchy, which is the pyramid, they called it heterarchy, which meant that, yes, we can have an organization that is a pyramid shape, but we have a heterogeneity of forms, and that we can all be leaders in different formats and forms in an organization. We don't have to be limited to hierarchy or strict egalitarianism, either extreme. We can choose in the moment for what we're doing our own way of most effectively leading. And what they found in the cultures that practiced this, they found some unusual, there was no hunger. Tasks were divided up more equally. And historically, the anthropologists felt that when the systems became more unequal, the wealth became more unequal, the systems deteriorated and eventually disappeared. So we would like to reclaim the hierarchy and the idea that we are all leaders. The agricultural workers in Florida have that as their motto. We are all leaders. And they have been practicing it for 20 years. And it's worked. So that's the other piece of it. So we like to keep those models in mind.
Yeah, I think each of the pillars contributes to that ensemble. So that's, a jazz ensemble. We each got an instrument. We're doing quantum timeline, or we're doing Reiki, we're doing statistic things, or we're doing seam, but we all can be in an orchestra, and or a jazz club with 3 or 4 of us, or we can take on a bigger project which would change the direction of a major organization in society. And that's my dream, So the new book, what are your thoughts? Are we in good shape, or should we start over again?
Can I make a comment, David? So you mentioned holography. It's holacracy, and
Okay,
I didn't create it. The chapter you're referring to was actually contributed by the founder, Brian Robertson. I did get certified in it. It's been probably 15 years or more ago. And I could reach out to him and see if he might want to come and talk to our group, because it's a really beautiful, it's a structure for a business, and it's also a lot of great practices. And I'm sure it's evolved over time. But I think we can have it in the book as long as we credit him. It's not my original writing.
Oh, really?
Let's say that.
That's interesting because I used to write about holography. So you call it
So I think, because there's also sociocracy and, oh gosh, Anastasia knows about that. Because I think she's written about it. I think holography is sort of the generic term, like facial tissue, and then holacracy is the Kleenex. It's the brand, their own unique brand, and he developed it in software development using agile, methods. So it's a lot of great little agile techniques and a lot of efficiencies in it. It's really powerful. So I got practice in leading leading the agile meetings, but I haven't done it in business.
Yeah, this is the chapter here. Yeah, thank you. I got the book.
And I said it in my email to you. I said I didn't write these. So.
Well, I didn't read that part. To me, you wrote everything in that book. So that's a beautiful book. Thank you. Go ahead, Grace Ann.
Amin put something interesting in the chat. Do you want to mention that, Amin?
Yes. Last time I was looking for, because okay, how to say that? There is a guy, a person named Hamdi Ulukaya. Okay, so he came from Turkey. He hated business. Okay, he hated business, and he said, and when he came, I do remember when he talked about his story. He started something, and he was like, you've got like a bank draft. Okay, so. And he had the opportunity to buy like, how say that, a firm, okay? A firm for $1. No one's trust on him. What he has done, he has taken all the previous employee because it was closed, okay? And one of the employee, but step by step, he started to take each employees, okay? But he took first the manager of the firm who was closed. It is a factory, yes, yogurt factory. Maybe you heard about this yogurt factory in United States. And when because he know nothing about business and he hate business, but he took it because he wanted to help his community. And why I talk about this person just quickly, because he had an opportunity. He said, I don't know nothing about business, so I'm going to hire a senior, someone, because he started to get like more than 700 million profit, and he did not know. So he wanted to get like someone who knows about leadership, big companies, and things like that. Sorry?
I was saying thank you for doing that. I got to move to the closing now, but thank you.
Okay. Sorry for that. But
okay. You did well. You did well. I copied it down so I can do the research during the week. All right, Grace Ann, your job is to close us out. You have 7 minutes. So.
Well, do we do the usual?
As long as it happen in 7 minutes, you can do whatever you want.
So what do you want to take with you today? So I want to take a better understanding of the breadth of interests that we have here and appreciation for all the diversity in our group. Thank you. Just pop up when you feel ready to speak.
Ready? I'll go. I'm getting to know each individual in our group a little bit more each week. This past week, I had the privilege of taking the VQ assessment with Harvey Schoof, and got a real good connection there, and really learned a lot about myself through the values axiogenics, the assessment. So anyone who I haven't gotten to know better, I'm going to be proactively trying to connect with you more each week or during the week in between. And I pass it on to whoever's ready to go. Let's say Ken.
Dr. Shree?
Sorry, I had to join late. Shocking for me. Just here to support with Basecamp and AI and a pleasant personality.
Your sound is breaking up, Ken.
Hard to hear you.
Okay.
I don't know. It just sounded like you're maybe muffled. If you want to say it again, Ken.
I'll pass.
That's still bad.
Pass.
Okay, let me come back to you, work on your sound a little bit. Thank you, Ken.
Yeah, so
In the app that you coordinate too for feedback on the book. Thank you. All right, and
I am actually fascinated by Grace Ann's reference to the farm workers in Florida who have this distributed leadership. I'm really curious as to how that, I mean, that's, I think, a big thing to take away from today. But whenever we have time, I'd love to know how that's affecting what's going on with immigration right now. And is that helping them to fight against the raids
How
or
are your students
not?
to be more authentic,
We'll look into that.
Okay. Thank you.
Next.
I'll go. I'm gonna take away hope for a better future for myself and this group.
I want to take away the glow, not in the sense that we're talking about today, but the glow that David has created here that just, I'm so excited about the fact that we're sitting on the minds and the capabilities of people literally changing how the business world works for the better. It's the most powerful, exciting thing I've seen in my business career. So I'm really honored to be part of this group. That's my takeaway.
I'd love to share a takeaway that it piggybacks on what you've said, Tom, and to be doing this with you and my daughter, Vanessa, and Lucero, and people, Jack's a longtime friend, and just new friends. It feels really good. So I'm taking that glow as well. Thanks.
I want to piggyback that, Olivia. I'll just say ditto, and my hope is to get to know the glow part much better.
I'll jump in and say that for me, my takeaway is the container that's forming continues to form and solidify around this understanding kind of an overall guiding framework for us all. So that's exciting to me.
I'll go next. I'm constantly reviewing what I can add to the group and how I can speak about teamwork, but teams are made up of individuals. But every time I come here, I learn something new, or I learn something new I want to dig into and know more about. So I'm so grateful for that.
My takeaway is inspiration and kindness and appreciation. To hear all of you and how well educated you are and how your hearts are open and the focus that David has us in Grace Ann, it's truly creating a deeper change in my heart. I always looked at establishments or different corporations as something so big, coming from like an immigrant family, and just feeling little because of the different, like the repression out here, and realizing that in different companies, like their values, like their heartbeat wasn't there, like their soul, their joy, their spirit. And to be in a group where everybody's spirit is aligned and their heart is open is completely motivational. And any sadness that was lingering from what's going on in LA or going on in the world, anything that was feeling a little too heavy, I feel like there's a giant amount of pressure that came out, because it is about what we can do together as a team, and being part of this team is truly awakening a different part of my being. So I'm definitely grateful for all your voices and your beauty and your backgrounds. Truly. Thank you. I'm passing the word.
I'll go. I'm taking with me just the gratitude of this group. It's like piggybacking similar. I love personal development and anything that, makes the world a better place and working on the self and supporting others and doing the same. So it's really amazing to be in a group of people who are on a mission with that. And I'm so excited to see that grow and see how much of an impact we can create, continuing and just exponentially growing from there. And I think that it is inevitable. So excited to be a part of it.
Thank you. I would like to echo what many of you have said here. I love the combination of openness, heart, and learning in that combination, because often it is one or the other, but I love how these components merge. And I'm a naturally curious person. And I always find, like I think Joyce said, always finding something new. Oh my God, I should know more about this. And then, to be pulled into areas that I would have never considered. I mean, I love the axiology because, that is, I didn't even know what it was. So thank you. And I really feel this is something, that whole idea of values. I want to learn more about this now. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else want to chime in? We're going on overtime now. Ken Long, did you get your sound done? Figured out? Well, I just want to appreciate you, Ken. Ken is a true storytelling certified. I'm working with him. We brought it into the book now. Ken, I'm looking forward to further integrations. And I
Dr.
want
Sue?
to speak. Who's it next, Grace Ann? Go ahead.
Dr. Sue, any final words?
Dr. Sue, go ahead.
Oh, I think you're on mute.
Oh, there, my screen got moved. We came out of the breakout rooms and my audio was stuck over the side. No, my takeaway is just, it's such a collaboration of, these great minds. I mean, this is, coming together, like you said, on cutting edge types of things. And everybody, you could be in your own world, just, basking in what you're doing, all by yourself and just focused on that and not sharing among others. But, everybody here are bringing all their thoughts and their minds and their assessments and are sharing them. So for, like you said, for the good of everybody out there and how we can all help, our clients or our patients and things like that. And our corporate leaders that we may work with. And I think, this is very unique, I would say, out there in the business world where it's kind of, can have a different, philosophy behind it. And of course, this group did come together because they do have a different focus and what they think is important.
Thank you. Anyone else? Is that it? Are we wrapped up?
Paul wants
just thankful for Grace Ann, and I'm in gratitude for Tom Lemke's gratitude journal. I fill it out every day. Now I'm filling it out in the morning and at night. It's like getting a running start on the next day, filling it out the day before. So I just can't tell you how powerful that gratitude is as a pillar for what we're doing, So I appreciate all of you, and I look forward to the time when you bring in a project to say, I got a big one here. We're going to deal with IBM, or we're going to deal with Hewlett Packard or somebody, and say, okay, well, who are the crew members that wants to step up and do that work, So I think once the book is published, you're the crew, they'll look in the book and say, oh, this is the crew. They're the founding crew, Where we go from there, I don't know. But thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
We're wrapped up. Thank you, everyone.
Okay. Thank you, Grace Ann.
Have a beautiful day. Ciao.
Yeah.
Till next week.
Okay. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye. Cheers. Thanks.
Bye.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.